Good morning, we're in southern Phoenix today. Gonna take a look at this 22-year-old stucco wood framed house. We're actually on the north side of the house right now, walking south, checking out the driveway, checking out the walkways, making sure that the stucco looks good. Actually, the stucco's got a fresh coat of paint on it. Nice shiny stucco today. No major issues at the house, but we are seeing a few things like door binding up at the top. It's not fully closed. It usually has to do with one of the hinges. Something isn't lined up right on this door. Doorbell, they replaced this and didn't screw in the plate covering, so anything can get in and around that. We're looking at drill and fill marks, so these little holes right there, that's where they treat for termites. 22-year-old house, so it's been treated probably twice, at least once after it was built, probably pre-treated too. Irrigation manifold on the south side. We've got a lot of irrigation manifolds today. We got like 5 or 6. I'm taking a look at the outside. We're seeing some bird blocking. That's that metal that goes underneath the concrete tile right there. That prevents birds from going up underneath there and keeps everything a little bit cleaner on the underlayment, so the edges of the underlayment last longer. It's usually the first thing that wears out on those. So this is an area that tends to get wet. It's a shaded area. If it gets a lot of water runoff from the garage right there, it'll sit right here, and it doesn't have anywhere to go. We do have a drain over there that's busted. It's completely broken out, so we always write these up because they are like a trip hazard. If you're walking with flip-flops, get a toe stuck in there, you could face plant, and that wouldn't be good. Main water shut off right there. Got about 65 PSI today. Branches off into the sprinkler system, which is why this anti-siphon device is here. But typically, the main shutoff is located above the sprinkler, so you can shut off your house but leave your sprinklers going if you're out of town. So this isn't quite the way that it should be. A little bit of cracking on the foundation there. It's not major, it's a corner crack. Pretty typical for corners to crack out like that. No major concerns. But I didn't find any plumbing cleanouts. I know they're gonna be located here somewhere. 22-year-old house, probably has ABS cleanouts somewhere buried in here. But I can't find them. I'm not gonna sit here and shovel out your driveway trying to find them either. Shovel out your yard. Garage door is working great today. Hardware on it is old and misadjusted, but it's not bad. Electrical panel on the east side of the property here. It's hot. It's about 105 out right now. Everything beneath the dead front cover looked fine. Nobody's messed with this panel much since it's been built, and that's always a good thing. Here's your sprinkler timer. It goes out to your orbit controller right here, which I did run everything for a quick cycle just to see what was leaking and what wasn't leaking. Again, 200 amp service. It's labeled right on the shutoff. So we weren't able to test the gate today. It's locked, but it's not even latching right on the back side. We'll probably need some adjustments on that one. So you can tell that just doesn't want to come down. Doesn't want to latch. It latches on the outside, but not on the inside. Walls are pretty sturdy. Top caps are getting loose on a few areas though. Windows are pretty dirty, so it's going to be hard for me to try and find the moisture if it's gotten through in those double panes. These windows have been cleaned. There's a lot of these marks on them. I don't know how many of them are stained or how much it is just dirt. Here's your condensate disposal for your air handler up in the attic. That one's dripping the way it should be. We actually got a little view of that today up in the attic. Then that's connected to the drain pan, which is full of debris right now. So I would get somebody to go up there where this connects to that drain pan and clean that drain pan out. If you got ventilated soffits or eaves, some of that screening material is pushed out of the way right there. So that's a good place for bees and hornets, wasps to get into your home. Getting with the dirty windows, I think it's just dirty. I did notice back here you had a wasp nest starting to form, or already has formed, and actually some of that screening material in there is completely blocked in this corner. So we're not getting any ventilation right there. Not a major problem, but we do need ventilation throughout the attic, and this is a previous water leak area. You can see that that board has sucked in some moisture. Some of the bird blocking up there is bent. Probably just somebody stepping on the edge. Got a day and night unit from 2012, so it's 11 years old. Seen some better days. Pretty level. It's not too tilted. Condensate line is all connected. Penetration is sealed. And we got a curb. I'm glad they left this opening here. This allows water to drain. Of course, we've got sidewalks here, so there's no drainage to the front of the house now. Water would have to get up pretty high before it would travel down there. And because our backyards all drain towards the street, you're not gonna have very good drainage back here. Monsoon comes up, you're gonna get a lot of moisture back here. Back side of the house, just a little bit of spalling, efflorescence on the foundation in a few areas. This usually happens when there's too much moisture around the foundation. So that concrete sucks up that moisture and then deteriorates slowly on the outside. We do have irrigation going down into more manifolds right there. Be nice to see an anti-siphon device before it goes underground. Definitely going to recommend an irrigation company come out and evaluate your system today. We had leaks over here, leaks over there, and we're not watering anything, so there's no reason to be pushing moisture all the way back here. You can see all the moisture damage from the past. Sprinklers eating away at the brick. This is the same thing that it's doing to the foundation over there. It's just eating away at the surface of that. So evidence that they have been painting. Took the lights out, covered up the night sensor or day sensor with that. The outlet is GFCI protected, thank God, because it is right below these misters that are pooling up water nicely on your patio. Expansion joint material over there, that's just this wavy stuff. It's just like padding being pushed down into that expansion joint to keep the moisture and dirt and bugs out of there. And as it gets hot and cold, it lifts up and sneaks its way out of there. So best way to fix that is just rip it out, put some backer rod in there as much as you can to fill it up, and then put some self-leveling caulking on top of it. Broken window. Somebody tried to break in. Somebody tried to pop that window open, and didn't work out quite the way I wanted it to. Missing a screen on the sliding door. Sliding door is actually pretty rough. Those wheels underneath the door probably need to be replaced. At the very least, lubricated. GFCI protection on all the outlets on the exterior, which is good there. This is how we turn our misters on. Just gonna crank that valve off. Get all these, keep my phone a little drier anyway. So we got a lot of moisture back here. Got a lot of moisture here. This was actually sopping wet when I came back here earlier. And my issue with this, yeah, this is just full of water. So you can imagine all the mosquitoes that are gonna be hovering around this afternoon. This is your only drainage on this side of the house. That little drain right there goes up to the front. So the water's gotta get over there. How's it gonna get over that little curb? Once we put that curb there, it stops all the water. Now the water's gotta lift up that far before it even goes out. So the curb is nice, but it actually caused a problem right there. I would take that curb out right there and make sure you've got some drainage. Starting in on the garage, don't have much going on in the garage. Always looking for termite tubes on the foundation. Looking around here, I don't like how they run lamp cord wiring. into a junction box. I can't, yeah, I'm not going to be touching that. That's not GFI protected either, so that's been run into a different circuit out to the control panel right there. So this is an additional circuit. Those are GFI protected the way they should be. That's a completely different circuit going to the electrical panel, and it's not GFI protected like it should be. Fresh paint all the way around, attic access hatch out here. You can see some of the lines on the ceiling, that's perfectly fine. It gets hot in these garages, and stuff cracks. At least it's cleaned up. See a little bit of a foundation repair right here. A little bit of a patch job. Other than a couple little patches like that, looks pretty good. So the water heater was installed in 2021, Bradford white, 50 gallon, right there. I like to see a drain pan under it, and I like to see a concrete bollard in front of this, just in case somebody slips and tries to drive into it, you don't smash into that water heater. One thing about a garage passage door is it's supposed to keep fire from spreading in the house, so this weather stripping has got to be sealed up. Need some adjustments on the door, get some thicker weather stripping in there. Door does close properly on its own if we open it normally. This air handler from Day and Night was replaced in 2021. I don't think they replaced the drain pan. This drain pan located underneath the air handler up in the attic is supposed to catch any moisture that drips out of the air conditioning unit, or like here where they left the insulation around the condensate line or around the freon line, coolant line. It's just sitting here dripping constantly. So is the rust coming from the old unit, the new unit, from this area right here where it's just continually dripping into the pan? You can see the condensate line has actually got some water in it, some rust. So it probably needs a servicing. Up here in the attic, we've got our cellulose blown in insulation, really good levels of it. Not really sure if that's a good way to run your ductwork. Pretty crazy up here with all the octopus looking duct lines everywhere. These vaulted ceilings are going to have this batt insulation on some of the side walls. Quite often this batt insulation will fall down and there'll be warm spots on the inside of the house. And sliding glass door in the back. Rollers are pretty well shot on that. You can see all the metal shavings down in there. Rollers are just falling apart on the inside. So definitely have to replace those. Even the door itself is a little bit aged and weathered. We're missing a screen on it entirely. So you'll have to replace the screen if you want to be able to open this up and have some breeze coming through here. Windows in general are pretty rough. They're probably the biggest write-up I have today. These lifting windows don't even hardly lift at all. You can hear that. Really tough. And again, with the screen's actually just been cut out of the frame. I think there's a couple screens or a screen back there anyway. Front door, we're not really checking for the security system, but you are missing a sensor on your front door. Those have two sensors. One stays put, one goes on the door, so when it moves, it trips. And here's some of that vaulted ceiling where we probably have some insulation gaps on that flat wall there. The kitchen itself is dated, but it's clean. Cabinets, it's perfect. I don't see any issues with the cabinets. Yeah, you might want to replace the little bumpers, but other than that, they're beautiful. We're good. Dishwasher, that's another thing. It's aged. It's kind of loose in there. The entire wheels are falling off the dishwasher. They really just snap in. They're not really broken. They just snap back together. But the rack is pretty well corroded in a few spots. Being that this dishwasher is from 2001, it's time for a new one. Underneath the kitchen sink, not much going on. They put in some Waterproof material there to prevent any water damage. Your garbage disposal is working just great today. We have a high loop associated with the dishwasher, so the dishwasher is going to drain through that rubber hose into the garbage disposal and then out the drain. No issues. We do have PVC and ABS pipe combination, 2 different materials. Not a big deal. This little weight in the back is connected to your sink. So when you pull this down, that weight helps keep that level. So it'll pull this back in and it stays. That's what that weight is for. Hot water is working good today at 120 degrees. Water heater is only 2 years old. This is an AAV valve, air admittance valve. So instead of running a vent up through the roof to follow the air behind the water going down the drain, this is just going to allow some air behind the water so it doesn't gurgle and bubble as much. I'm glad that it's on top of the sink and not mounted below. A lot of remodels, they'll just put one of those underneath, and then it's got to be 4 inches up. Microwave, stove, all of it was working good. I've never, can't say never, I hardly ever write up gaskets being a problem. And this one doesn't look bad. It looks a little bit pushed in right here. But you can tell that when I close this, I'm getting metal on metal. So that door is making connection before that gasket probably is. See, laminate countertops, nothing going on crazy with them today. They look good. Fluorescent light has been tripping me out since we've been in here. Microwave is working fine, but it is not vented to the outside. It vents right back up through here. So we've got some grease right above the microwave and the cabinets there. It's funny that the door is like a different material than the rest of the microwave. But oven top, stove top, that was all working good. So we do have some double doors right by the kitchen here. This is actually your laundry room. So you've got your washer and dryer connections right there. Attic access hatch to your air handler up there. Fan and AC vent over there. No issues in this room. But right above it, that air handler's over there. The air return comes this way and goes right up to that air return, which, all right, let's see what we got in the air filter. We don't have an air filter. Nada. That's not good because everything that goes in there without a filter is just getting sucked through the whole system. So now I've got to recommend that the whole system be cleaned by a professional. Pretty cool living room. See some of the water ponding still there from the misters. Got different colored tile here than there, than there. Just talked to the homeowner or the home buyer about it, and they were kind of confused about why this was different. I think it's just a cosmetic thing, designer issue. AC has been working great since we've been here. I had it set on 75 and cranked it all the way down. So they put new carpets in the bedrooms. I'm not a big fan of how they mounted the doors for the closet. Can't even hardly open it. It's not on the track properly up at top. So it's just going to be falling down. Smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, 2001. So we get 10 years on those. We're well past that. In the bedroom, you've got cable connections, you've got your upside down outlet, so that's going to be your switched outlet, which is going to be an important one in here because there's no light kit, there's no fan or anything. So that outlet is important. Over in this bedroom, we do have a fan kit, but we don't have any lights, so turn that on. That's your fan. That first one is going to be connected to that outlet right there, so you can plug a lamp into that. For as small as the room this is, yeah, a little bit of damage to that switch plate. This must have been an office because I'm looking at all the electrical outlets in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this room is, I'm going to guess 12 feet by 12 feet, maybe 15 by 15 at the most. Kind of crazy. Jumper duct in the hallway It's gonna go over into the primary bedroom. That way when the AC kicks on, it doesn't slam the door like that. Another smoke detector that needs to be swapped out. I actually had some mud daubers in this window here, so when I opened it up, we got a bunch of mud falling out of it. Mud daubers will get in any crack and they'll make their nests in whatever. I'd rather see a mud dauber than this though. This is a big old hole in the window. There's actually damage to the outside framing, so it looks like somebody tried to pry in. That's not good. Screen material on the windows is pretty well shot too. Does not look very good today. We've got a single one-piece bathtub shower unit, so you don't have to worry about caulking gaps other than the exterior around here. We do have some grout lines that need some maintenance. So you go in and fill up all these grout lines so water doesn't get in there when you get out of the bathtub or when you're mopping the floor. Keep the moisture from penetrating the surface below. Got a little wolf spider in here today. I'm surprised he didn't get flushed down the bathtub when I turned the water on, but I don't play with spiders. 2 windows right above the shower. It's a little bit unusual, but lets a little bit more light in. Again, with the fan up there, the vent needs to be clean. That thing is solid dirty. Ugh. Ventilation is a big thing. So with the bathrooms and the toilet, didn't have any issues with this one, but the toilet lid is off. These just have little connections underneath that need to be tightened up, but this one is actually stripped out. I can't even tighten it up right now. So these covers are replaceable for like 15 bucks. Well, this is a 105 foot or 105 inch vanity, or 103 inch I think it was. It's a little bit bigger than your typical vanity, but it's only got one single sink in it. So I know the home buyer is probably going to be putting a dual set in here. It's not a problem, you just have to do the plumbing correct so it gets out of here properly. Nice big closet in the primary bathroom with an air vent in it, which is always good. Everything was GFCI protected except for those outlets in the garage. Everything that was supposed to be GFCI protected is. So again with door stops. Got door stops missing all over the place. And we do have one over there. This one's missing. I did find them though, they're in this drawer. So there's several in here that they took off, probably when they were painting. It's likely why they were removed. Both of the mirrors in the bathrooms are starting to delaminate, which means that the glass and the backing behind it are starting to separate a little bit. We're getting some rust in there. So the backing is usually metal, and if it gets wet, metal rusts. So that's kind of what's going on with those. So there's a few things going on with this 20-year-old house, but nothing major, some outdated stuff. Anyway, I'm just glad I'm getting out of here before it gets 120 degrees. Thanks for watching. I'm Home Inspector Dan with BPG Inspections. Please give me a call, 1-800-285-3001 to book me, or just go to bpginspections.com. Well, it's been a fun morning. It's been a good time. Watch my next video. Why not? Why wouldn't you?